Welcome back to Gross Nasty Eggs.
Yeah, welcome back. Here we are doing episode 3 and 4 of Into the Dark.
Mm-hmm.
This one is episode 3, Pooka.
The Christmas one. This one came out in December. This was the first one I saw.
We saw.
Oh, this was the first one you saw too?
Yep.
Ah, and very heavily marketed before it came out.
Oh yeah, there was many ads. Many ads.
Quick, just seizure warning for this movie. There is a point where there is a lot of rapid flashing colors, and so if you're gonna watch it, be careful of that. I don't know if they had a seizure warning in the beginning, but they needed one.
Epilepsy test.
Woo!
Do you have it? You'll find out.
Sooner or later.
You know it's Christmas because, man, do they shove that down your throat.
There's a lot of... It's like... I'm glad they're able to make it Christmas without overly relying on snow, because they're in LA.
There is no snow.
So there is none. But they just make up for it by having a million Christmas trees everywhere.
Almost every scene has a Christmas tree. If it doesn't have a Christmas tree, it has a palm tree.
Yes.
And then Christmas music.
Like randomly sometimes. Like generic Christmas songs in the background.
Yep, the classics. Christmas lights.
Yeah. So they code it with Christmas, even though they don't overly rely on it looking like Christmas. It's not going to be your typical looking Christmas movie, if that's what you're looking at this movie for.
Yeah. And then his whole point is he's an actor looking for a gig.
Yeah.
We know this story. He finds a paper, help wanted for an actor.
Mm-hmm.
He does an audition, which was kind of creepy.
It was kind of creepy, but it also definitely seemed like a real audition someone
Raise
would
your
have.
hands up. Now make a triangle.
Out like an offering, fly like a plane.
Yeah.
It's very memorable. Like, I remember that scene, that rhythm. So it made it easier. Something about this movie is everything they do and say becomes pretty easy to remember and somewhat iconic. So it's not surprising Pooka's got a sequel later on for season 2.
It's the only one with a sequel.
It's interesting because Pooka is objectively not cute.
No.
Like at all.
He's a weird looking... It's like a rabbit mixed with... Do you remember Target had those square-headed dolls?
I do. That was a weird little stint.
Little gimmick he used to have.
Yeah.
They don't sell those anymore, but yeah, it looks a lot like that.
Yeah, it was the shape of its mouth. Like, its eyes are like basically headlights.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on the big suit.
Yeah.
But the mouth is this weird like plastic oval thing with these things on the side, and
yeah.
I'm like, there are ways of doing that mouth and not making it look like that.
So he does the audition, gets the role, and his whole thing is he has to dress up in this costume and sell the new toy, Pooka.
Mm-hmm. And he's the mascot costume.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm an actor. Why are you getting me? And the thing is, the guy is like, you need to sell it. It needs to be you. You need to embody Pooka.
There can only be one Pooka.
Yeah. I will say, this movie is pretty. Like, they have some great... The opening shot is really good. And then it transitions from him in that opening shot to sitting in his apartment.
Yeah, he's like laying on the ground. You can see the cop lights.
Mm-hmm.
And then as he sits up, he's sitting up off of his couch.
Yeah. It's really well done. The cinematography and the directing... This is the first one for the Into the Dark series that made me go, that looks good.
Mm-hmm. A Pooka. What is a Pooka? It's accented U, C-A.
Yeah.
And
I believe.
it's also spelled Pooka.
Yeah.
Which this one is. Pooka is a Irish mythical creature. It translates to goblin.
Yeah.
And they will disguise themselves as animals, sometimes an old man.
Really?
Or just straight up a goblin. And they'll bring you either good luck, like good fortune,
mm-hmm.
or really bad fortune.
This is something cool because this isn't brought up in the movie at all.
No.
But it is like an actual little chunk of folklore.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when Into the Dark, they haven't done it often, but when they pull from a supernatural, like, ghost or folklore element, that's when they do their best. We'll get to those movies later on, but the ones I'm remembering are the ones that have been the best so far.
Yep.
So it's cool that they like incorporated that into the story, but never overly explained it or anything.
I never made my drink.
Oh yeah, you said you were gonna put it on the rocks, huh?
Yeah, can you pause this?
Yeah. All right, so I had a note that I wrote down, and it's the hook happens really early on with the movie, which is his audition, and it's really easy to get wrapped up in the story from that point on, and then very shortly after that, when we see Pooka trash his apartment, and he's both in the suit, we see him put it on, he trashes his apartment, the camera moves, and then he walks into the apartment.
Yep.
And he sees his apartment. It's like, that immediately, it's just like, I'm invested in this mystery.
It happens multiple times where we'll see him,
Mm-hmm.
and then the camera will move to the next room in a flawless shot and show Pooka destroying something.
Yeah. They must have put more effort into making that set than I initially thought.
The apartment?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the camera goes everywhere in that apartment.
Yep. It's also the same cinematographer of the body.
Really?
Yep.
But the body didn't do anything that impressed me very much.
I know.
It was very just... Maybe it was maybe it was the director had a big say in things.
Yeah. He'll also do another one down the line. It'll be the next episode, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Not
Not
episode 4,
yeah.
but episode 5. Which is Valentine's Day. No. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Confidence. It had some weird transitions for scenes in this movie.
That was kind of the point. It's always playing with your head. You're like, was that real? Was that not real? What happened?
Yeah, like at first it just seems like somewhat sudden, but they'll still have transitions. And then eventually it gets to the point where he's jumping randomly in time and in space. And then it starts to get to the point where he's jumping even to a degree where I don't know if we're moving forward in time or if he's just like actually going insane. And he's not actually in reality anymore, basically.
Yeah, towards the end it seems like there's time skips.
Yeah. Because it's just, and I thought it was a really good, simple way of adding that eerie factor to a horror movie.
It just shows that he's being more and more consumed by his job.
Mm-hmm.
His job is to sell this toy for Christmas.
Yeah. His locations he goes to becomes less and less. Like at first he's like on the bus and in the cafe and whatever. And then by the end it's like his apartment, his girlfriend's place, the job site. And those are the only places he goes.
This one doesn't have many characters either.
It doesn't. I think that's for the better.
There's his love interest, her son, Ty. I remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
The producer,
Yeah.
who actually really takes care of him. He seems like a sleazebag, but he's actually a cool guy.
It seemed like an almost red hair. Maybe like that thing where he's sitting there. You're supposed to be sitting there going, but was he a part of it all along?
Yeah.
And then his next door neighbor.
Red.
Yeah.
Red is an older lady who hints that she used to be an actress,
Yeah.
but it's never really explained.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that, in good spooky horror fashion, things that get mentioned but never fully talked about.
Yeah, well, you were talking about how Pooka and him will be in different rooms, but we know that they're in the same
Yeah.
area. And we see him put on the Pooka mask
Mm-hmm.
and then go out into the hallway, turn and look at Red's door, and then walk in and start attacking her.
Yeah.
And as he's attacking her, the door closes and we go back to Wilson, who's in bed holding the pillow over his ears.
Yeah, because he can hear.
Yeah, freaking out.
It's easy to forget that it is, like when Wilson puts on the Pooka outfit, it's supposed to be, like, that's him wearing an outfit. It's easy to really start differentiating the two as, like, Pooka and Wilson as two separate things. Even though we always see him putting the outfit on first.
But there is another Pooka.
There is.
There's two of them.
Yeah. Just like his song, one's naughty, one's nice.
And that plays a huge part in the sequel also.
Mm-hmm.
The second one doesn't show up really until the end.
Yeah.
You see bits and pieces of him, But then at the end, there are two of them going at it.
Yeah, I wrote one of my notes I wrote down was it's hard to write notes because my eyes are just glued to the screen. It's like that thing where I don't want to miss anything, and I'm so invested in what's happening.
Yeah, it's one of those fun ones where it throws you kind of like you're going forward and like, oh my god, Pooka just went in there and killed her, and then the next day, he wakes up and knocks on her door, and she's there, just fine.
Totally fine. It makes you're constantly theorizing throughout the movie, long before you even just try to figure out what the actual ending is.
And the actual ending's bananas.
It's insane. I do highly recommend you watched the movie before listening to our podcast because it's worth it. Again. Yes.
Because there's some things in there where you're like, wait, what?
And I'm like, oh, I didn't remember that. They had one really impressive long take during the house. When they're in the when he when he goes to the house to talk to the girl to try to ask her out, there's this one really long take where they're talking to each other. I was impressed that they ended up doing that.
That was just a creepy scene.
It was because on one hand, we're supposed to forget the fact that he's basically stalking this lady.
Yeah.
Like he saw her again, got his manager to give her to get her phone number and like where she works and stuff.
Yeah, and then finds out she's a realtor, finds out she has an open house, and then goes to that open house, not with the intention of seeing it or buying anything.
Yeah.
But asking her out on a date.
Yeah. And it's like...
And somehow it works.
It's this... right before he goes out to ask her out on this date, it's this really simple scene where he's sitting in front of his laptop, and he's, like, looking at her and, like, figuring out where she's gonna be, and he's, like, happy, and, like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'll have the confidence. And he stands up and he moves, and then immediately after, Pooka comes and sits down, and his eyes are just red. And it makes you remember, no, that is a creepy thing you're doing.
Yeah. Like after the first date, which went really well, he walks her back, and he goes, do I need to ask permission to kiss you? And then that's when we're introduced to her son, because he's spying on them.
Yeah.
It's just hard cut to him.
Yeah.
Wearing the Pooka mask in his dark apartment, masturbating in the corner.
Yeah.
And when he hits his climax, all these lights turn on, and then slowly fade out.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck was that?
It is a creepy little movie.
It is. It's not for kids.
No gore, honestly. Almost no gore until right at the end. Which even then, it's not even that like bloody or anything.
No, you'd kind of expect something like that to happen.
Yeah. I also like highly praise it for not relying on jump scares. Because it'd be really easy to just have like a bleh, and Pooka pops out from behind something and scares you.
Pooka does do that, but he doesn't. The music doesn't do that.
Yeah, that stupidly annoying. Like all the violins have like a panic attack.
Yeah, no, he'll like walk out of the room and then Pooka walks in.
Yeah, it's smart. It's just it's not typical.
Where he would like leave the room, Pooka enters from the other side of the stage. Yeah.
So like this idea of like they should have seen each other. He should have seen Pooka walking around.
Coexist in this world. Mm-hmm. And then he goes insane with this costume. And he starts to believe that he can't be himself without the costume. Mm-hmm. And that's when he has his whole mental breakdown.
Well, that's when things really start going downhill.
You start to get to the climax.
Yeah, well, Pooka, has been attacking people, and then Wilson is starting to get, also aggressive. And it's like suddenly things are just getting worse and worse and worse. And then there's this whole thing with Pooka, the toys being disbanded because they're all broken. And they're all just saying one phrase over and over again. So it's a interesting turn for the story I was not expecting.
Yeah.
His apartment always feels like the scariest place to be. Doesn't matter which, there's several sets that we go to regularly. His apartment is always when it's, the most nervous. Because I don't know what to expect. Because I think Pooka will always show up.
Whenever we're in there, it's either, sunset or just, midnight.
Yeah. Little to no lights.
No lights. You see he has a bed, a couch, and once he walks through the kitchen.
Yeah. But even though it's dark outside and it is dimly lit, we can still see everything. Our main character is African American, so you need to light your set well and have good cameras to capture their complexion.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you've fucked up.
Also, Pooka is brown.
Mm-hmm.
His fur.
Yeah.
And non-reflective.
Only his eyes, which they do play around with.
Yeah, the eyes do change colors.
Yeah. As you would want it to. It's a smart... I wonder how much effort and money it took to make the Pooka costume.
Well, they made at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
Or 3 of them. Because one of them gets destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Never thought about that before.
There's a fun, annoying song about Pooka.
Yes.
Because he's all the rage.
He is. And they sing it somewhat regular throughout the movie.
Pooka me.
Pooka you. Pooka see. Pooka do. There's a second verse. And it goes with like the hand motions he was doing with his audition. So it's like so easy to sit there at work and just have the Pooka theme playing.
Yeah, and then they do like the Barney thing where he's doing it and then all the kids around him are doing it.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
It is cute, like, but also a little creepy.
Yeah. But that music video was well done.
Mm-hmm.
It captured the crappy Christmas toy of the season.
Yeah. What a fun direction to go with for Christmas.
Yeah.
The hot new toy being the thing.
Yeah. And if you guys do watch it, the guy who made that annoying-ass song also made the Walking Dead intro theme.
Yeah.
Which is Bear McCreary.
It's classics.
McCreary? I think it's McCreary.
McCurry?
McCreary.
I'm not gonna remember.
Yeah. Anyways, Bear does a great job.
So it's super good. Something I noticed towards the end of the movie was anytime something weird happens to him with Pooka, he never talks about it. Like, he never addresses it to Red or his girlfriend, and he doesn't even seem to, like, dwell on it much himself. But we also hardly ever see him by himself. He's usually surrounded by other people. Either Red or his girlfriend, mostly. Or his producer.
Yeah, after the beginning, he's around people.
Mm-hmm.
But he does talk about wanting to be alone with the costume.
Yeah.
We see him at night with his costume.
Yeah, but that's when all the creepy things happen.
Yeah. They take his costume from him, so he breaks in and takes it back.
That's when the transitions started to feel like he was breaking through, like, the fourth wall, almost. It was one where he was, like, mad, and he was, like, pounding on his apartment wall, and then we cut to that hallway that led to where Pooka's costume was, and he just crashed through a door. Almost like him pounding through the wall, then crashed through that door, breaking through time and space to get there.
Yep.
It was a good one. Also, with those kind of weird transitions, it was punctuated with... It was in the trailer, also, beforehand, but Wilson says, "I'm losing time." And I'm like, that's a very specific way of phrasing that.
Let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. We're in the spoilers section. I'm going to have a timestamp on the screen to the end of our spoilers. If you want to keep... Because I do recommend watching the movie first. But if you want to keep going, as you've been warned. If you want to skip the spoilers, this is your timestamp.
We'll always warn you about spoilers. Okay. We find out that the girlfriend and her son are actually his wife and son.
From, like...
a different timeline?
But
he's there.
Yeah, he can see what's happening.
And then he sees the other version of him.
Yeah. Who's like...
drives a nice car and wears leather jackets.
Is like a famous actor. I don't know if you noticed that, but there was like a picture of him like on the red carpet on the wall. And I'm like, oh, this was the him that like did everything right.
No.
Well, did everything that got famous.
Yeah. Comes home frustrated, it's Christmas time. Starts yelling at his wife and destroys the Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
Which upsets his son. And so he says, we'll just go buy another one. Throughout the entire movie, they're always looking at Christmas trees. Right?
Yeah.
And that was them off to go look at Christmas trees, which should have happened. But he was so upset when he was driving his car, he stopped paying attention and did a head-on collision with another car.
Yeah.
Killing his family and killing the other drivers, the other people in the car.
Yeah.
And the driver who's still alive is actually red.
Yeah.
And you see that she has this gash on her head from it,
which
randomly shows up because it sounds like Pooka threw her out the window. And then later on, you see her corpse on the concrete.
With that same...
And yeah, he goes up there, sees that her tree is destroyed.
Yeah.
And then when he comes back down, nothing ever happened.
Well, also earlier than that, it was like really early on.
They give you all the pieces. They're there.
Yeah, like Wilson helps her put up her tree, and she's like, yo, thanks. And then he leaves, and she's looking at her tree, and then she just, like, the lights do this weird flicker thing on her tree.
Yeah, and then she hears the car.
And she just looks horrified. And I'm like, does she know she's in, like, this weird purgatory nightmare? Or...
Yep.
And also, after he sees that, the paramedics show up, and the paramedic that's looking at him was his producer.
Yep.
And he even said, don't worry, buddy, because he called him buddy throughout the entire movie.
Yep.
So, it's open-ended.
Well, when he's slowly dying from blood loss, he puts his head down on the ground. You see the lights, just like at the beginning.
Yep.
And he sees Pooka. The toy Pooka.
Just like the beginning.
And it's saying something to him.
It's saying, look at the pretty lights.
Yeah, look at the pretty lights.
Yeah. And then, if you want, you can, like, line that right up with the beginning of the movie, and it could start all over again.
Yep.
So, there's a ton of theories you could think of for this ending.
I think it's a time loop. I think he's constantly being punished for what he's done. I don't think it's purgatory necessarily.
I would lean towards purgatory.
Yeah.
I mean, we watched Preacher, which is really good. Watch Preacher. But in that first season, we see what hell looks like, which is basically repeating your same worst nightmare over and over again.
Yeah.
And this was similar, but with, like, a twist on it. Like, to help, like, hammer home how much of an asshole he used to be.
Oh, Pooka, the mythological creature bringing good fortune and bad fortune.
Yeah.
In this story, it brings him good fortune by giving him a job and a chance to have this career he always dreams of. But at the end, it takes it away, and in a very brutal turn of events, and psychedelic for...
Yeah.
The psychosis of him just completely breaks.
Well, I wonder now, is it the same Wilson? Because the Wilson we follow throughout the whole movie saw the accident and realized that he was the asshole father.
He's standing there with the evil Pooka.
Yeah.
Staring at it.
But if we played the movie lined up to how that ending is, we would then start to follow this new Wilson who's just in the accident, and he's learning his lesson about how he needs to be the asshole. He used to be the asshole father. And so is it like a time loop thing where you're just continually watching a man realize his mistakes and everything is lost?
Oh, wow. Because at the audition, he's reading after Scrooge. Scrooge hates Christmas, and Wilson destroyed the Christmas tree.
Yeah.
And he has to go through the three ghosts of Christmas to learn his lesson.
Yeah.
And then he comes out on the other side a completely redeemed person.
Is this just a weird version of...
A Christmas Carol?
What? Oh no, I'm gonna be thinking about this for like 2 more weeks.
So I thought it was interesting they chose A Christmas Carol. They could have done any other Christmas story.
I thought it was interesting that it wasn't the Christmas Carol that surprised me, because theater loves picking those super artsy scripts that are really hard to read and remember. But it was the fact that he was auditioning for Scrooge that surprised me.
Yeah.
Because he didn't seem vain enough to want the lead role, but he also didn't seem, like, asshole enough to want to be the villain. Fuck. Damn it.
The main role of that story is the villain.
Yeah, so...
Scrooge is the bad guy.
It felt like a weird choice for him to go with. Especially because he wasn't that good at it. Like, his audition was fine, but he never really nailed the line.
He barely started.
Well, I mean, even beforehand...
They kicked him out.
Well, they had ulterior motives. Which was another weird element. That they seemed to have this entire fake audition for A Christmas Carol just to find someone who will be the Pooka.
Yeah. And it fits perfectly on him.
Mm-hmm.
What was your thing?
We were talking about the cinematography, and it is really good. But there's one moment, I blame the editor on this one, where he's running around in the Christmas tree factory lot, the Christmas tree lot. I don't do that shit.
There's a factory where they I guess there would be for fake trees.
I get the fake ones.
Nah, man, that's fake trees.
Fake trees. No, it was right after he does that. He has his big fight with Pooka and everything's on fire, and then it does a swipe transition.
Oh yeah.
At the start of the climax.
It's the only one in there.
It is. There's 2 transitions.
You heard me say it too. I was like, "Don't do this to me."
No.
Not now.
Like I picked up my notebook to write this down, and you just said, "Don't even bother." I'll remember. But no, don't use unless you're Star Wars. Star Wars is the only person. Star Wars is a person.
It is.
Star Wars
person.
It's the only franchise that can get away with a swipe transition. But no one has the right to use a fade transition.
Oh.
I hate fades. They are lazy as hell.
Why did anyone design that?
Because they're lazy as hell.
Well, when in doubt, just fade out. That's seriously an editing term. If you can't figure out how to do it, just fade it out.
No. You can always do something better. Always.
I'm gonna make nothing but fades now.
Our careers.
Anything else you wanted to talk about?
I've got through all of my notes.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone through the story.
Yeah. Like I didn't expect Pooka to take long because it's a good one. The really good ones, there's not a lot to say because I want you to just watch it. And Pooka's really, really good.
It's fun.
How did you rate it?
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Why?
It's a little lower than the last 2. I gave those 8 out of 10s. The reason why Pooka gets a 7 out of 10 is due to the fact that it is so mind-boggling.
It's a little too much. A little bit of more explanation could have been nice.
It makes more sense the second time. And that's not a good story.
No, because you don't...
But then, like you're saying, if you were put it on a loop, it would probably make sense if you watched the movie twice.
Yeah.
In a row.
Yeah.
You watched it the first time.
That's a lot, and you don't want your movie...
Don't have to.
You don't want watching a movie to become doing homework. So that's always...
What is this, then?
We do this in our free time. I gave it a 10 out of 10. This is my second 10 out of 10. In a row, even.
Wow.
Yeah. I really liked Pooka. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's a great one to throw on during Christmas time.
Yeah, watch it during Christmas. But you'll want to watch the sequel after it. And I'm going to tell you right now, it has very little to do with the sequel.
True. Which might be a good thing. Because this one was so contained that a sequel might ruin what this one was attempting to do with its story. Which, even the fact that the story is so up in the air with its ending and explanations, it can be a bit of a off-putting for some people. But if you love theorizing and you want to go through the whole movie analyzing every tiny detail, this is the one for you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
You guys will notice this one's a little smaller. You still have a large chunk of this podcast to go through. It's because New Year, New You is god-awful.
Just you wait. Oh my god.
I'm going to tear it a new one.
I can't. It's so disappointing to follow Pooka with me. We'll get to it. We'll get there. Alright. So I guess here's New Year, New You.
Yeah.
Alright. Here we go. New Year, New You.
Woo!
This...
Oh my god. We gotta, party till midnight.
It's gotta be...
So much fun.
Guys, what if we wrote an entire movie about all the worst people you met in high school?
And even though you hate them, you're still hanging out with them.
I guess that's it. Let's make that a movie.
That's a great idea. We should make that a movie.
Let's make an entire movie. This is... all the movies so far have been fine to great. This is the first really, really, really bad one.
Let me tell you right now, this is the worst Into the Dark I've seen.
Yeah. Maybe. There's
For
more...
season 1, yes.
Definitely for season 1.
Forget what we know about 2. Season 1, this is... You can really avoid it and still feel satisfaction.
And that's the thing. As soon as someone says, this is the worst of the worst, people are like, oh, I gotta see it. There's literally nothing to see. It's not even, like, annoyingly bad. It's boringly bad.
Nothing happens for 50 fucking minutes.
And the things that do happen are, like, nonsensical and asinine. Let's start... Okay. It feels like... Okay, I was really surprised, because I looked it up during the movie, because I was bored out of my tears, that this is written and directed by the same lady, which amazes me, because this feels like a shriveled old man trying to write what he thinks girls do at sleepovers. Like, just... I think this is what people do on YouTube, right?
Yeah, they're what? Late 20s?
Mm-hmm. At the
and then
youngest.
They get up to do a dance thing they did in 6th grade.
Yeah.
That was from TLC.
That's what I come to a horror movie for. Painfully unsynchronized pop dancing.
And it's supposed to be like a happy moment, and then it becomes all like, I'm so ugly and she's prettier than me. Which is just the problem with everything. It's just the problem with everything.
It feels like
one friend who's successful, and they all hate her for it.
And yet
it's like, why did you invite her?
Why did you invite if you all hate her? She's like obviously a bitch. Like you spent the entire time before she showed up complaining about her.
See, when you're making a film or you're writing a story, right? It should be that the problem is almost inevitable. Mm-hmm. It's going to happen, right? It should feel organic.
Like we tell stories because there was a story to tell.
Yeah.
Like
if you are a petty bitch and you invite the person you hate the most in the world to your party and then you act like a petty bitch about it,
yeah,
that's your fucking fault.
Like, I'm angry and miserable, so I'm gonna invite you so I can make everybody I know angry and miserable around me.
But let's talk about why you're angry and miserable. So the premise of this film, the synopsis, is that our main character,
Alexis, yeah,
she has this scar on her jawline.
Yeah.
And she at one point says that she tried to be an actress but gave up on it.
Yes.
Well, she's watching this one girl who became famous, Danielle.
Who used to be like her friend.
They used to be friends in high school and all this, but it didn't work out. And Danielle now does terrible info commercials.
Are they? I interpret it as YouTube. Like a YouTube channel. Because on the screen it's like, leave a comment below.
It's so bad.
It looks like someone saw a picture.
And Kathy's little copper pot.
Yeah. It looked like someone saw a picture of iJustine or Jenna Marbles and went, I think I know what a YouTube is.
Yeah.
Blonde girls talk about shit. Also, okay, so she's doing this thing on the YouTube channel that we introduced Danielle
God,
with.
I hate this thing so much.
We're getting introduced to it, and she's like, has like a guest on her YouTube channel, or she's like a guest on someone else's. The logistics are stupid, but she's
not the host of it.
But she's like talking like, to her kid-oriented audience, but she's making like a cocktail. Like a daiquiri with 700 shots of vodka in a cocktail. I'm like, what? 40
She Martha Stewart it?
What 40-year-old bitch has a kid-oriented YouTube channel, but is making a cocktail out of it?
I didn't notice the cocktail.
Like, that was like...
Like, at the end, she's making pepper spray.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Also, so, like, that little girl that she was watching the YouTube channel with, what a little brat. In the beginning of the movie.
Well, her parents can afford a babysitter.
I mean, but, like, come on. Little brat. She's also, like... a 16-year-old, and they're like, just have her act like a toddler. It'll be fine. No one will notice the difference.
I don't think she was 16.
She was definitely too old to be bouncing up and down on a couch yelling, "I can't wait to be just like my favorite YouTube star."
You don't do that now?
No, I'm an adult. I bounce up and down on the bed. Otherwise, I'd get grounded.
Yeah, well, I'm a boomer and I bounce on trampolines.
Ooh.
Until I broke my hip.
Yeah, and then I became viral on YouTube. Now I really am my favorite YouTube star.
And then I died from the virus. Now I'm truly viral.
Okay, so also, like, they're talking about Danielle becoming, like, a TV host and shit. Because she's just so popular.
No, she's getting her own show. We don't know what it is.
Whatever.
Because Danielle, when they're playing this stupid... Well, we'll get to that.
But I'm like...
We should talk about the other girls.
No YouTuber has ever successfully made it as, like, a good host on television. Like, they all crash and burn one way or another.
Don't talk about PewDiePie like that.
He knows to stay away from it. I'm talking about, like, Lily Singh, who had, like, a half a season of something.
Don't know that.
Yeah, exactly.
So the other two friends, because there's 4 in total.
Mm-hmm.
There's technically 5.
There are entire cast.
There's the black girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember the character's name.
I don't remember her name either. She was the best one, though.
She taught autistic kids. We got that through dialogue. Yeah, most of the information you receive is through dialogue.
Yeah,
it's a movie of talking heads.
Yeah, they can't just have, we see the black girl, she has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend calls her and she's talking to her girlfriend. She has to sit down and explain to you first that she has a girlfriend before you could just introduce that to us in an organic way.
It's so bad. Kayla?
Kayla?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah, Kayla. She's also a teacher of the handicap.
Yeah.
She says that in the little drinking game that she's so proud that she helped this autistic deaf girl be able to gain senses.
Yeah.
And then she finally came out. She has a girlfriend, so she's a lesbian. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have a little diversity going on.
She's the only one who gets kind of development like that.
Then we have the rambunctious, way too talkative, always too excited, fat white girl, Chloe.
Yes.
Who's depressed and has extremely low self-esteem.
Even though she,
No, she's incredibly weak.
She has sex a lot and she wants to be rich. So
she has sex a lot and complains about not having a boyfriend. And it's like, bitch, you're promiscuous. Nobody wants to settle down with you.
I guess that's enough to describe a character.
And then the 5th one, who hardly ever shows up, is Kelsey.
Yeah.
What we find out is that Danielle, who is actually the only character in this movie with the last name, used to bully all the other girls and shamed her 3 friends and the 4th one, Kelsey. And she shamed her so bad that Kelsey committed suicide.
Yeah.
Didn't say a thing, didn't care.
Didn't even...
And now, Lexi decides that this new year, she's gonna expose her for what a bitch she is.
In, the dumbest way possible. She's gonna expose her, but we're also gonna wait 50 minutes into the movie to even discover that's her intention.
I don't think it was 50.
It was 40.
Oh, 50. I heard 15, sorry.
Nope, it was long.
I'm arguing stupid numbers. I worked.
Okay. Alright. So the girls showed up at her house because they have this big old, New Year's get-together. And they all show up at the house. Why are they all wearing, fancy dresses and shit? If I went to see my friends, who I haven't seen since high school...
having a party!
I would wear, a normal t-shirt and pants.
Well, you're obviously not part of the cool girls.
Neither are they.
No. So their plan was to, I guess, liquor up Danielle, then tie her to a chair, and then film her with a confession.
I guess, but that definitely just looks like a
incriminating yourself
scenario. Yeah, they also tied her to a chair with the ribbons of balloons.
Yeah.
That's not gonna hold you down. Even the skinniest, weakest person could stretch out the ribbon of the balloon enough to get out.
But you and I know that YouTubers are not strong enough to break ribbons. Balloon ribbons in particular.
Yeah, one of my notes, it just says bore. Oh my god, it takes way too long for anything to fucking happen in this movie. They made steaks. Why would you cook steaks? Why would you invite your friends over to your giant mansion, cook steaks, not order a pizza, and also wait till after they had all arrived to start cooking the steaks?
They made steaks?
Yeah, they were like cooking like these thick ass like New York style steaks.
Wouldn't they be worried about their body weight?
I don't know. It was to the point where I was just noticing every tiny thing, and I was so bored and annoyed that everything was annoying me at this point.
You know what's really annoying?
Huh.
The mirrors.
The like
cinematography is just, I swear to God, if you...
That was a note I had.
Where did you get these mirrors? And why do you keep using them?
Why so many? If you hate your scars so much, why are you surrounding yourself with your reflection?
Because I think that was supposed to be the whole point of the movie, was like, she's always worried about her outer reflective self that is now killing the inside of her, while her friend, who is horrible on the inside, is showing this great outer self.
I don't know.
And then
it
she
feels
just grows envious.
It feels like 3 scripts mashed together.
It feels like a hunk of junk.
Like, it feels like someone wanted to write the story about, you know, shitty old friends from high school and suicide. Someone else wanted to write a story about, you know, being scarred and losing whatever you want. And then someone else wanted to write a story about a slasher flick. And then they just threw it all in a pile and shat on it. And then they made this movie instead.
Yeah. So if you guys really like what we've said, don't watch it.
Don't watch it. It's not worth it.
And then you won't care about this next segment, because I am tired of not talking about how pointless the finale is. Spoilers!
Spoilers. I wouldn't... You know, I'll put up the timestamp just in case, but...
No, we're making it a thumbnail.
You mentioned, like, the cinematography. It's surprising how bad it is.
Oh.
Like, I'm amazed that was the shots the editor kept deciding to use.
Well, the editor is a fucking moron himself.
Also true. Fucking God. Like, these split screen...
So we just talked about Pooka.
Yeah.
You guys just listened to Pooka. And we talked about fade shots sliding in and out. Oh my God, there's like a 10-minute conversation where they do that.
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be gripping?
Like comic book ass style, just slides and slides and slides. It's like, and it's like also like during like one of the tense moments. Like, oh, is she gonna convince her friend to not be a psychotic bitch? Or, no, I can't pay attention because your cinematography and directing and editing is ass. There was a shot, I am amazed they went with this one, where they didn't... Bless you. Bless you.
Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit.
They were doing like a zoom on Chloe, the fatter friend, but it was clearly like an in-camera zoom, but what, like they zoomed in, and then they zoomed in again. Like, they didn't do the full zoom they wanted, so they did it, and then just kind of, like, tried to correct it. So it had this, like, jitter effect. It was just, it's amateurish. Amateur and ugly. Like, that's the first thing you do wrong with a camera, and the first thing you figure out how not to do.
They also don't get the characters' faces right.
No.
Because they'll be talking straight to the person,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll get this weird side angle. And
Yep.
it's like, I understand the rules of the 180 rule, right?
Yeah.
I get that. But that angle is just weird.
Like, they're just running, they had no comprehension, and like, clearly it looked like they realized, oops, we accidentally wrote a 20-minute long scene where they're sitting in one spot talking to each other.
Yep.
We need to try to think of anything camera-wise so it doesn't become the same exact thing over and over again.
Oh, the opening itself with cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
The slow, okay, so Lexi comes home,
Mm-hmm.
and as she's moving around in this home, right, it'll be like she goes to her closet to drop something off, and then the camera just zooms in on this, like, bag of golf sticks.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I don't play golf, guys.
Golf clubs.
There's golf clubs, but there's a bag of it. Is it a caddy? No, the caddy whatever. It shows you that. She goes into the kitchen. She walks by the camera. The camera stays in a spot and closes in on a knife. Or a set of knives.
I get
and
it.
she goes up the stairs. She passes by the camera. The camera just zooms in on a picture of her and her friends. Everything you need to know this camera just tells you in the first 5 minutes, and it's not.
Yeah, it's like, gee, I wonder if she's gonna pick up the knife. Look, she picked up the knife. I'm glad you told me.
Yeah.
There's a difference between foreshadowing and then just ruining the movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's ways of doing this in a smart way. But there was not enough in the movie for there to be anything smart about it.
It was like they thought they were being clever and they're going to do Chekhov's gun. And what they did was they literally just told you the whole story in like 5 minutes and you're done. You can walk away.
That's the end of it. There you go.
You're good. And, they even show you Danielle's body in the water.
Yeah, that's like the first shot.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell like who that is.
Yeah.
But also like you can also just pause and like look, like is there a gigantic ugly fucking scar? Are they black? Are they fat? No. Well then I guess it's Danielle, the only other character in the fucking movie.
Well, also she has that nasty elongated chin.
Yeah, it's because she's like too skinny. Okay, these bitches spent like 20 actual minutes, movie-wise, playing Never Have I Ever. And then just talking about, like, their sex lives and shit. Why are we wasting so much time with these girls being miserable around each other and being annoying characters when, like, why not just dive right into the slashery shit with the knives and fuck? Who wrote this?
But there's barely any of that. After they capture her in the chair, right? Their whole plan.
Yeah.
Right, which your little game escalates to it.
And they waited for midnight. I don't know why. Like, why was it arbitrarily midnight?
And then she breaks free, and everyone's answer to this problem is logically murder.
Yeah. Let's all these girls get really easy with, they get very comfortable with the concept of murdering their best friends really damn quick.
I'm willing to accept a hitman dragging a body wrapped up in plastic around on Halloween night.
Yeah.
I'm willing to accept a girl being drugged by her father and him being a serial killer to protect her. I'm okay believing a stupid Christmas toy can become a demonic possession.
Sure.
But I am not okay with a fucking house sleepover on New Year's logically going to murder.
And suddenly murder. And she, also Danielle jumps to, yeah, I'm really okay with just murdering everybody here. And I'm fine with coming up with like excuses. It'll be great.
Famous bitch, I can get away with that.
And I'm like, all right.
I made movies with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Like she implies.
Don't put his name in this. He wants nothing to do with this.
They never technically said his last name. Could be any Leo. We don't know.
The electric car guy?
If I hadn't have seen the Into the Dark intro and you just started playing this movie, I would have never have guessed it's supposed to be a horror or a slasher or thriller or whatever the fuck this was pretending to be. It's just oh, girls are having a sleepover. Spooky.
I don't even think sci-fi would touch this thing at midnight.
This would have been better if they were...
Or 3 in the morning. Nobody would fucking play this movie.
Why did they make her a YouTube star? Why not just make her like a supermodel or an actress or something?
Why'd they make the movie?
Good point. I
want my time back. If you saw this in theaters, you would demand your money back.
The only thing I could think of that could save this premise
is not do it.
Yes, but if they were actually teenage girls, full of hormones and already psychotic, and then rather than being like this weird revenge thing, throw in the boys, get more jealous, actually see the girl commit suicide, and then in that moment, like I'm gonna kill you for murdering my best friend because I'm secretly crazy.
Yeah, the suicide thing is only talked about.
Never
see weird little clips, but it doesn't make sense because it's in like a pool of green water.
Yeah.
But the water's not even green. It's just shitty fucking cinematography being hidden by shitty editing.
And like, I think it's implied that's where she got the scar, but they never explain it. Like, she's just, at the end there, she's like yelling at Danielle and she's like, it was supposed to be me. I was supposed to be the famous one. I'm like, wow, with your miserable bitch-ass attitude?
Yeah.
No one would hire you anyway.
How was it supposed to be you?
Yeah.
How? What did you do?
Because you didn't? Because you got the scar and she didn't? How did you get the scar? Were you being stupid? My God. It's just, like, clearly, I think this was full of rewrites. like endless rewrites, and it didn't help. Maybe it needed more rewrites.
So while watching this film, I wrote down, nothing has happened. Talking. Just talking. Where's the horror? 41 minutes and 50 seconds in nothing. Wasted fucking time. How the hell is this a horror when it's just a drama?
Not even good drama.
And then I made notes to myself.
Yeah?
They're really good notes. In detail, I wanted to say, bad acting, bad casting, bad editing, bad cinematography, bad disjointed story, again propelled by shit dialogue.
You can't have an entire... If you're an aspiring screenwriter, and you have like a script written out, I want you to stop right now, look at your script that you have written, and see how much of it is dialogue between characters.
Well, it depends what you're writing. If you're writing a courtroom drama, that's fine.
That's fine.
If you're writing a teenage sleepover, you probably don't want that much in it.
It's probably, like, you can say things without having the characters just say things. Yeah.
You don't tell a story by people standing around talking.
Yeah.
At least when you're using visual media.
I don't give a shit about these fake girls who I don't like to begin with talking about the boys they used to like when they were in high school. I barely like talking about that shit with my actual friends.
Yeah.
Why would I want to watch a movie about it?
So spoil the ending. Absolutely. Lexi gets away with all of it.
Yeah.
Everyone else is dead.
Yeah, in like the dumbest
Even the
ways
girlfriend.
possible. They like half of them like get like accidentally killed. Like, oh, I just pushed you and she happened to fall with her temple on the corner of this like death razor bathroom.
All three of the friends die from head trauma.
Oh, they do, don't they? Yeah, the one falls down the stairs.
So Chloe hits Kayla, which like she somehow goes flying back and smacks her head on the counter.
Yeah.
That just took her out.
Which wouldn't kill you, I don't think.
Lexi smacks the shit out of Chloe with a golf club. She falls down the stairs, snaps her neck.
To be fair, that actress gave that tumbling 100%.
Well, sure that wasn't a doll?
It's like
just a big ass doll falling
it's just
down
like
the stairs.
a balloon bouncing down the stairs.
I'm not fat shaming. I'm just saying, why? Why?
And
Anyways,
then Danielle
goes flying out a window, and she lands in the pool, which you would think, okay, cool. But what happened was, when she fell, she smacked her head on the edge of the pool.
Yeah.
And you see the blood come up, and it's like, oh, that would hurt.
That would, yeah.
At least she died.
And then like, I guess when
Lexi becomes the YouTuber.
When YouTube stars die,
Whoa!
they just find their closest living best friend and replaces them.
Oh my god.
That's...
She would want me to move on. It's like, what the fuck?
Like, was this your goal the whole time? To be a vapid, fake piece of shit? You spent the entire movie bitching about her for being this. This is what you really wanted?
Why would they hire her?
Yeah.
Why would they have her replace her?
This is not the thing about having a scar or not. Like, if PewDiePie like retired or died or something, YouTube corporate would like scutter out from their cave and find a somewhat similar-looking Swedish person to take his spot and take over his YouTube channel. That's not how anything works.
But they would flag that video.
We're gonna get this video is gonna get copyright struck.
I'm calling it. You guys should flag it. The more you flag it, the more I know you like it.
There's a point during the chase, I guess you could call it a chase, where like Lexi could not figure out how to open any of the fucking doors of her own house.
Oh, that was hilarious. It's
like
you've lived here since you were a child, and you don't know where shit is.
You don't know which drawer has the knives?
Also, your front door has a skeleton key?
Yeah.
What?
That doesn't make any sense. Like, whatsoever. No house in, like, the last century has something like that. And this house was not that old.
So I'm in the middle of writing the review, and I looked up the actresses. They've done nothing worth talking about.
I bet.
And if you've seen one of their films, odds are it was just a random chance.
Yeah. Like,
you probably didn't even care for it.
I doubt it, yeah.
Like, I watch a lot of dumb, horrible things, but
This,
God.
the entire premise makes no fucking sense to me. Okay, if the fucking plan was to wrap up and torment Danielle, why did you waste so much time, both, like, the characters in universe and us as the audience watching, just pretending to be her friend? Like, would you not jump at the like, as soon as she walked in and put down her bag, would you not smack her in the back of the head with a golf club? If your intention was to torment her from the very beginning, why bother with the charade of being friends for so long?
Why'd you invite her?
And why did it have to wait until the 40-minute mark for this revelation to happen?
Why would you want to spend a holiday with someone you fucking hate?
Yeah, just
what
to,
kind of
I guess,
masochist are you?
bully her? I guess that was their entire plan, because she was like, we're not gonna kill her, we're just gonna freak her the fuck out, and, like, cut her up and shit and whatever. I don't know.
Can you, like, sue her?
Was that, yeah, they'd probably all go to jail for assault at that point.
Yeah, at that point, but, like, couldn't she have sued her?
Harassment.
And talking about how what she has done in the past led to another girl committing suicide,
Yeah,
that would just tarnish her entire reputation.
Yeah.
And everything you wanted would just be succeeded.
Yeah, you
wouldn't win the lawsuit.
You don't need to do the kidnapping, fucking
the moment that's
attacking
out,
thing.
people aren't going to watch her or pay attention. They're always going to be like, oh yeah, and that person's also a second-degree murderer.
That happened
Or third degree. I think it's third degree.
The worst thing is, like, that moment where it's like, surprise, we were here, we wanted to attack you and tie you up all along. That's like the hook of the movie. Because there was nothing in that movie beforehand that hooked me at any point in time. Like, 40 minutes in is when something finally happens. It feels like it was written as a short. Like a real short, like maybe 5 minutes long. And then someone went, let's make it a movie. And then they desperately try to stretch out every single scene, which is why every scene feels like it takes 10 to 20 minutes.
It's a bad movie.
It's a bad movie. One of the worst I've ever seen. And I'm upset that we had to watch it again.
Again. But we won't have to do it again.
And
it's your guys' turn.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it either. If there is any person on this fucking planet who liked this movie, please, I beg of you, go into detail in the comment section about what you liked about it.
And explain it why you made it this far in the podcast.
Yeah. Because I cannot fathom.
Because we've made it very sure you are not welcome here.
Do you have more notes?
I have tons of notes. I wrote almost 8 pages of notes, but I really just don't want to talk about this movie.
It's like I was thinking, we went to the grocery store right before this, and I was thinking, fuck, I gotta talk about this movie now. What did you give it as a rating?
I haven't gotten there yet.
I gave it a 1 out of 10.
A 1 out of 10?
Like this...
I don't know. It really depends. After I write out these reviews and I look at certain aspects of it...
Like, you try to be objective with your rating system.
Yeah, I mean... It's not so bad where you don't understand what's happening, but it is still bad. And there's no redeeming quality to it. It has to be a 2.
If
I give you a 1, it's because it's just ungodly. I've seen foreign films that make way fucking more sense than this thing.
Not translated. No, I
love reading subtitles.
I'm giving it a 1 because I'm
a dub, not sub, okay? Okay? Except for Full Metal. That's a reference to a different thing.
I get it. If I give it a 1, like I had to. Like, if I wasn't committed to sitting down to watching the entire thing for this podcast, I would have walked away like 10 minutes in. It is nothing. I hated every single second of it. And then it got to the point where the hate subsided because it was just bored coals lingering inside of me because it wasn't over yet.
Well, I paused it like 3 times throughout, checking the time.
Yeah.
Just going like, are we done that?
Being like, oh, well, really 40 minutes in before something started to happen.
I forgot what I was doing something. I was doing something else while watching the movie.
We were both on our phones regularly. That's a good indicator. If you're in a good movie, you're not going to be on your phone very much.
Yeah.
If it's a bad one, you're going to be on your phone a lot.
We were on our phones a lot. Yeah, so it doesn't keep your attention you'll lose focus, and you won't miss a thing. You just won't miss.
There's nothing to miss. They over-explain it to you anyway.
Yeah.
So that was, at least we've gone through the trenches now. So sorry, this was like a weird super good review with Pooka, super negative review with New Year, New You.
Well, we knew it was gonna happen.
It was fascinating that they end up right next to each other.
Yeah.
So next up is
Pooka's creative, and this one is
the opposite. It is like the exact opposite.
I've read children's books that have more fucking zest than this.
Alright, so next we're gonna do Down.
Down.
Valentine's Day. I haven't seen Down yet.
I love Down. I've seen it 3 times.
Have you really?
Yeah.
I tried, but it was like midnight and I was falling asleep.
I'm gonna warn you guys again. It's another slow burner. But
Blumhouse is notorious for their slow burns.
But when you get to that point, it is fun.
And what's after Down?
Treehouse.
Oh, all right. I guess we'll get to it.
Another feminist talking heads movie.
Oh, this one's worse. Not as bad as New Year, New You, but
Well, Down actually has a villain.
We'll get to it.
I mean, yeah, Down and Treehouse both have villains.
In a sense. So I hope you guys if you join us for that one, that's going to be exciting. I'm having a lot of fun with this series. It's fun going back through these movies. Like I said, if you have any comments or thoughts or opinions, whether you agree or disagree, leave them in the comments section down below. If you like this, give us a like and subscribe if you want. We're going to try to keep to a very strict schedule, but we'll see.
And that schedule, if you guys haven't figured it out, is Mondays, nasty eggs. Or garbage eggs, sorry.
Yeah.
Mondays are garbage eggs, and then Wednesdays are nasty rotten eggs.
Yeah.
Nasty gross eggs.
We're still trying to renew it, that names. We're trying to get it all contained.
Well, I had it all spelt out, and then somebody decided to
I changed one letter.
numerically change it.
You had eggs spelt with an 8 instead of an E.
And they even make that joke in this movie. She texted me with GR8.
Great. Alright, so we'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for listening. Don't watch it.
It's not worth it. Watch Pooka instead.
Watch Pooka again.
Watch Pooka twice.
Say you're good.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.